Let's talk about rounding. The reason why we round numbers is to make them easier to add in our minds without having to write them down. But there are rules for rounding. So let's talk about how this works for rounding. The question says, first, round each number to the nearest 10. So that means we're looking at doing something to the number that's in the tens place, in the 48 and the 72. The 4 and the 7, those are in the tens place. Then we're going to mentally add the numbers. So here's the rules. What you do is, in order to figure out whether we have to change this 4 here, is we look at the number next door, the 8. The rule is, if it's 5 or more, you have to add 1 to the 4. If it's less than 5, you don't change the number. So let's look at the 8. The 8, is that 5 or more? Yep. That means we have to add 1 to the 4. That means the 4 becomes a 5. And then all the numbers to the right, we have to change to a 0. Now the 48 is rounded to the nearest 10, 50. Let's look at 72. The 2 is the number next to the 7. The rule is, if the number next to that number you're wanting to round, if it's 5 or more, you add 1 to the 7. If it's less than 5, then you don't change the number. In this case, it's a 2. That's less than 5, so we don't change the number. We leave it alone. So now we have 50 plus 70. 70 is also rounded to the nearest 10. So that's easy to add in our head. 50 plus 70 is 120. The zeros would just stay the same in the ones place, and the 5 and the 7 add to 12. That was pretty easy to add in our minds. So here's a summary of what we did. Oops, move this down so we can get it in the picture. So the 48 and the 72, we had to look at our rules. And the 8, it was 5 or more, so we had to add 1 to the 4. So that's why we added 1 to the 4 to make 50. With the 72, it was 4 or less. That was the rule. So we don't change. The 7 stays a 7. So again, we have 50 plus 70 is 120.